There is a beautiful medieval town in central Italy called Montalcino. It was here in the late 1880s that the iconic red wine Brunello di Montalcino was created by the Biondi Santi family. In the last 3 decades, the quality of Brunello has reached extraordinary heights, and that quality has received global recognition. The 6 Brunello producers in this documentary are just a few of the more than 200 in the region who are dedicated to making Brunello di Montalcino one of the great red wines of the world.
Banfi was founded 40 years ago by Giovanni Neri and Mariani, 2 American brothers specialized in importing Italian wine in US. They founded this company because they fall in love with this territory and with the wine. And I think the uniqueness of Banfi is that really Banfi was able to bring Brunello to the world, but also to bring the world to Montalcino, generating this concept, believing into the concept of Montalcino is not only wine, it's a culture, it's a territory, it's a history, it's an Italian tradition, and the wine is also a driver of bringing all these elements, all this lifestyle, country lifestyle into the world. This region, Montalcino, has for sure a very special, let's say, to use a French terminology, a special terroir. It's an area with a very particular climate combined with a very particular soil, very, very diversified. Montalcino is a constellation of very, very different microclimate and terroirs that are in combination with Sangiovese. That probably is one of the most difficult varieties to be cultivated. Brunello evolved a lot in the last 30-40 years. Predominantly an evolution is in the vineyards because we more and more are able to understand these terroirs, the different terroirs, and to how to arrive to the perfect maturation of this very difficult grape. Sangiovese is very difficult because it's very difficult to bring all the elements of the grape to a perfect balance and harmonious maturation at the harvesting time. That is probably the main evolution that we had over this 40 years, in addition to winemaking techniques like all over in the world. I work in many different places and different business, but for the last 20 years I'm into this business and with Banfi, and I'm traveling all around the world, visiting different places, different culture, different cities for business, of course, but anytime I'm back here, I'm looking around myself and I say, thanks God, this place is very, very magic.
The history of Brunello started with our family 7 generations ago from me, with Clemente Santi. He was the inventor and the pioneer on vinificating a wine 100% Sangiovese Grosso, and he discovered the power and the longevity of this wine. And after 2 generations later, Ferrucio has been the first generation of the family who bottled the first bottle of Brunello Biondi Santi 1888 vintage. So we are using, of course, the best technology to vinificate these wines, but the vinification is still a very, the style of the wine has never changed. So The expectation on the wine is a light-bodied wine, a beautiful red ruby color, fantastic perfumes, so third-wary perfumes like roses, and then a fantastic cherry in the palate at the beginning, and an incredible structure based, of course, in acidity and tannins that makes this wine really unique. Our winery have a very long story with the Sangiovese Grosso, especially the BBS 11 clone, which is a clone that our family discovered after the phylloxera. And it is a unique clone for us because only we can use it to produce wine worldwide. And we still have the very old vineyards planted generations ago, so from my great-grandfather and great-great-grandfather. So this is the old vine from planted in 1936, and it is the oldest vine of Sangiovese Grosso BBS 11 that we have in the winery. And as you can see right next to it, there is an olive tree, and it was an old system to create a competition for the roots of the vineyard to produce quality grapes.
I started to make the wine in 1991 in Casanova di Neri and change a little. Don't change so much. About technical, don't change so much. But today, and I believe that in Montalcino there were great wines also in the past. It's a magic place. But in the last, from 90 vintage, there was the Brunello Renaissance. Today, I speak about Casanova di Neri, but also about Brunello in general. The quality is more constant, and the attention in the vineyard and in the cellar is more strong.
It's not only a father, he's one of the greatest teachers I ever had in my life. He taught me a lot, and I think he's going to pass to me and to my older brother the heritage of Casanova di Neri. It's, of course, a huge responsibility because I mean, we have to be always at the top. So there's a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility, but we have to use this pressure in a positive way. That means we have to work even harder than him and learn from what he taught to us and improve every single way on a daily basis, trying to work better and to communicate what to the rest of the world, to the entire world, what my grandfather has done, what my father has done, and what he's actually doing.
I learn every day from my dad, because my dad made wine since about 30 years, so he had great experience. He understood before than a lot of people the potential of Montalcino, the potential of three single vineyard. So I think, yes, of course, it's a big responsibility, but I'm also very proud to be the son of Giacomo, to work with my dad, because year by year I see that also after 30 years of working and winemaking, he's not tired. He wants to be better with me every year. And of course, he gives me a lot of responsibility, but I'm really happy with this, because the most important thing for Casanova di Neri is to make great wines, and this is only our focus. And I think together we can do better every year.
When I open the window of my room at the 7 in the morning or the 6, more often, and I looking out and I see Montalcino, I see my vineyard, I see my land, my country. And every morning I think I am happy man.
So the history of Brunello, the history of Montalcino, is old and young at the same time. It's old because people start talking about Montalcino back in 1800. But it's actually young because it's only on the last 30 years that people started really to focus on this place and on this variety, Sangiovese, that here made it really, really special place. The identity of this place has been able to allow Sangiovese to become really good.
CastelGiocondo has different soil and different expression of Sangiovese. Imagine that we start picking up the Sangiovese in the early September from the lowest part, and we end up on the upper part in the early October. We want to preserve those differences. We vinify them differently. We age them differently. Maybe we also make different techniques, different racking. All these things to preserve those differences that vineyards give us. Because we want to have at the end, under the final blend before the bottling, to have a lot of different Brunello, that we blend them together to have maximum complexity and stable quality along the years. That's the strength of CastelGiocondo.
Because Sangiovese is the most planted variety in Italy. It's the variety that historically people were using for everyday wines. So quantity rather than quality. In fact, it was always said that Sangiovese had to be paired with something else to become really good, great wine. And instead here, there is a magic climate, there is the height, there is the sun, there is the winter, there is cold, there is the stony, there is the south exposure. There are a number of exposures in Montalcino. They all are able to make, something that when you open a bottle, your heart beats.
San Polino is a very special place because for a long time, and I believe till now, it's been stuck in its own time. When we arrived here, the place had been abandoned since since pre-industrial times. People hadn't been living in it since World War II. As a result, this place has never been contaminated by modernity. So you've never had pesticides here, synthetic products. It's somewhat stuck in time, and that is very important for the type of wine we're trying to do and for the type of agriculture we're trying to do. Winemaking is almost entirely agriculture. 90% of winemaking occurs in the fields. In that sense, we feel that we want to be in what we call a symbiotic relationship with our fields.
We believe that the good wine is first of all made by the terroir, by the place, and by the climate, and this is very difficult to find a place better than this to make wine. And then there is the biodiversity. We are surrounded by by 3 parts. We are surrounded by wild nature, and we believe that good wines are made if there is a very high biodiversity. We are followers of biodynamics here. And it was the philosopher Spinoza who said that nature and God are the same thing. So my relation with nature is first of all a relationship of awe. San Polino, first of all, is family. Family as another one of the organisms which are part of the ecosystem of San Polino. And as in all the other ecosystems, love is the main force. It's so we respect each other, we give space to each other, and we help each other to develop.
You could use a family almost as a case study for the whole winery. You've got the pluses in some places, you've got the minuses, and if you're able to bring it all together and to create an alchemy that works, then you can achieve magic. You really can.
I am the owner of this land, Valdicava land in Montalcino. So my heart is in this place. And we are lucky because it's a place uncontaminated, where we have only vineyard and people that love the place, and vineyard that is, has the possibility to translate the character of the place in a wine. Everyone that looked Valdicava in these last 50 years saw horses in our property. This means that animals represent the biodiversity in our Valdicava land. And I chose to introduce more horses 20 years ago using Arabian horses because they are very sensitive and also very flexible. We use them to cultivate the vineyards sometimes. We use them to fertilize some part of our vineyards. They eat everything that we produce in the property, grass, corn, and so on. And these make a real balance of our property. The future of Brunello are the new generation that will be better than us to respect the nature. They will pay attention to the balance of the place and will be able more than us to respect the place, to be natural protector of this place, and at the same time to be wonderful translator of the place in the wine. I am proud today to have a son and a daughter that continue my work, and I have the same passion and the same possibility to dream for the future of Montalcino.